Are you a data-driven decision-making leader? If you are, you're using data analytics. And if you're not, you should be. I'm going to tell you in this video why a histogram is the #1 go-to tool for me to go to first when it comes to doing data analytics. A histogram describes and pictures the distribution of the data. Now, why is distribution important? And the first thing I look at, because it tells me a whole bunch of things. First and foremost, I want to know what the average is. And of course, most organizations work on averages, but averages are not enough. You need to think about standard deviation or the variation around the average. And a histogram will be able to show you that. It'll show you what your distribution of your data looks like in picture form. And a picture is worth 1,000 words. You'll want to know what your average is, what your lowest value is, what your highest value is. We call that the range. That too becomes really critical because that helps us determine what the standard deviation is. And the standard deviation is simply the average distance to the average. Now, within your data set and your average, you've got data points. Every data point is a distance away from the average. If your average is 10 and you've got a value of 8, your distance is -2. If you have an average of 10 and a value of 12, your distance is +2. So when you take all those distances up and you do a few things with it, you get the standard deviation. You get the average distance to the average. The bigger that number is, the more variation there is in your data, and that is not a good thing. You want a really tight distribution around your average. The other thing you're going to want to know is, of course, is the shape. Have I got just one frequency column, or do I have several columns with high frequencies? Because if I have several columns with high frequencies, chances are I have what's called a bimodal distribution. I have what looks like a camel's back, 2 humps, or more than 2 humps, could have 3. That is a problem. That tells me that I have multiple processes at work within my existing process that I'm measuring. I'm going to want to analyze why that's the case. The other thing I'm going to want to think about when it comes to the data is where are things in relation to my target? So where's my average? Where is my distribution? Where is my target? Because I am below target or on target as it relates to my average doesn't mean that I have a capable and stable process. What I'm looking for is stability. How tight is my process and consistent over time? And is it capable? Where is it in relation to my target? If my distribution is occurring, chances are I've got some spillage out beyond my target. That's not a good thing. So always when I have a histogram, I overlay a target. No point in having a histogram without a target. So that's what I look for, and that's why it's my #1 go-to tool in the first tool I go to when it comes to analyzing data. Well, if you like that video, be sure to hit the subscribe button and hit the like button, because I'm going to give you lots more of information coming up in future videos, not only about tools, but also about the methodologies and approach as it relates to driving continuous improvement in your organization.